Have you ever followed a crochet pattern that started with 6 stitches on the inside of the magic loop, and then you build on those stitches and you keep going and you're supposed to make this bigger and bigger circle, only to find out instead of making a circle, you ended up making a hexagon? I had the same thing happen to me. Actually, it wasn't a complete circle. I was making a rainbow bobble blanket. By the way, everyone around me is having babies, so I've been on a tear making baby presents. And side note, that rainbow bobble blanket pattern has paid for itself time and time again. I have used that rainbow bobble blanket pattern so many times, and everyone loves it. The first times that I made it though, instead of a nice rounded arch at the top of the rainbow, it would look angular. Like it would have lines in it and very clear like angles after it got to a certain size. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. I feel like I really followed the pattern. So I would Google it, trying to find out how to make it look more like this. And I kind of found the answer, couldn't really understand it. Googled it again, same thing, found what I thought was an answer, someone explaining it over, like typing was on like Reddit, where I didn't totally understand it still. Anyway, I eventually got it, and my most recent rainbow bobble blanket has the nice arch in it, and it looks less like an angular piece of rainbow at the top. So I wanted to make this video to be able to teach it the way that I would have wanted to learn it in case it helps someone else. Not saying that I invented this fix, it's just that I feel like I could explain it in a different way that would have helped me. So in case someone else has exactly my brain and learns the same exact way that I do, I think I could lend a hand. Here is my view. Man, I do hope this helps somebody because I did spend some time last night prepping this material. So here is our lovely hexagon that wants to be a circle, and here is our circle that we like to keep a circle. We want to convert this into this. We do that by utilizing the same patterns. I color coded them to show where the problem is and then how to fix it. Here we have the magic ring. I did 6 stitches. In my case, they were single crochets inside the magic ring. And then the second row was an increase stitch in each of those stitches. So that ends you with 12 stitches for row 2. After that, it is a single crochet and then an increase stitch. So basically an increase stitch every other, all around. And then the row after that, 2 single crochets, increase, 2 single crochets, increase. And then after that, 3, and then an increase, 4, and then an increase. You see where this is going. And now you see why you end up with a hexagon, because if you started off with 6 single crochets in the magic ring, each of those stitches eventually becomes a side. You can also see with the color coding that I did that the increase stitches are all stacked on top of each other, which gives it those angles. So now we see why the hexagon is formed. Now how do we fix it? You need to stagger your increase stitches. I think that until the portion where basically you only have 3 single crochets in between increase stitches, I feel like it's fine. It's small enough that it looks like a circle. I don't think you need to change the pattern at that point. I feel like any bigger than that, you should think about altering it slightly. And here's how to do that. Starting with the row where you have 4 single crochets in between your increase stitches, I would say that's where you start. 4 is a good number because it is an even number and we can divide that by 2 evenly. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So what you would do is you would start the round with 2 single crochets and then you would do your increase stitch. And then it's the same thing, follow the pattern, 4 single crochets and then an increase, 4 single crochets and then an increase, and then you end up with 2 stitches left, which is correct because that is where you want to finish off, because you started off with 2 in the beginning and then you would have 2 in the end. And that is how you maintain the same number of stitches as what your pattern called for, but you just shifted where the increases go so they're not all stacked on top of each other. For the rows where there is an odd number of stitches in between increase stitches, just follow that as the pattern had it written. So here it's the 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an increase stitch. Because you're interrupted by that previous row we did where we're not stacking the increase stitch, it still has that effect of being a circle. And then the row after that is where you have 6 single crochets in between increase stitches. So you do the same thing there. You start off with 3. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and then you do your increase stitch, and then you go all the way around following this pattern, 6, and then increase 6, and then increase, 6, increase, and then you get all the way to the end of the row where you finish off your last increase, and then guess what? You'll have 3 stitches conveniently left over. So 3 in the beginning, 3 in the end, and that increase stitch that you would have already done if you were doing it this way. So I think that concludes our lesson for today on how to convert your hexagons into circles. Please let me know if that was helpful or not in the way that I explained it so I can continue learning and making content that is helpful. I will actually post another video, probably a YouTube short, on the recent baby presents that I've made. There was the Safari Activity Cube and the Rainbow Bobble Blanket. So I'll see you in those next videos. Bye!